Man, I tell you, this whole live streaming thing's really got my goat. I mean, I've been at over 50 subscribers now for over a week and a half. This is the third time I've tried to live stream, and every time it tells me that I don't have enough subscribers, or that there's a 24-hour wait period, or we're almost ready. So I'll just record it. For my 54, 56, 58 subscribers out there, I'm sorry. I have not been doing, I've gotten a lot recorded, but I have not. This is Pie Guy, by the way. I got him last night from the ER, and then they made fun of me because I cuddled with him all night long. It's like, that's what you do with a teddy bear, man. You're the crazy one. Y'all gave him to me and then make fun of me because I did exactly what I'm supposed to do. That's just not nice. Anyway, so yeah, he's Pie Guy. He was a good cuddle partner. But so I have an Ionic 5 SEL 2023, and I always wanted a limited, but whenever I bought the SEL, limiteds weren't even available at the time, or at least not where I was. I mean, I didn't check across the nation. Maybe there were some in California, who knows. But so now that the price of EVs has dropped so much, it really only took me about maybe $1,300 to $2,000 to change from my SEL to the limited. I jumped on it. There were 6 available by dealers in the country at the time, so I the next day I jumped in Sparky. That's my SEL. And I drove Sparky from Mountain Home area or the Harrison area, um, down to San Antonio to look at one, but they didn't have the title for it yet, so technically it wasn't for sale. And then I drove over to Houston to look at another one, and they were wanting to give me 5,000 less on my trade-in than Carvana offered me, and they would not move off the sticker price, not one penny. So I left there and went and visited my dad in Giddings, and then drove over to Austin Bergstrom International Airport. And the female that was riding with me went ahead and took Sparky back to her house. I hopped on a plane, flew to Chicago to look at another limited, and I didn't mind doing this because their sticker price was like $29.9. I'm like, that's within my budget. I don't even have to try to haggle with these people. That's a fair price. I would pay it. I'll just go in there tomorrow and I will buy it. And from what I had learned so far, I was saving myself about $5,000. So I thought, well, shoot. I mean, if I spend $300 on a plane ticket, $150 on a motel room, I'm still $4,500 ahead, you know. So I looked at that, and then they sat down in front of me with a piece of paper where they added so much to it. I don't remember what the number was because I lost my stuff and just got up and walked out. Um, but the car went from 30,000 to 42,000, something like that, like something just totally insane, with all the additions that the dealer put on there for processing and making it ready to sell and paperwork and so yeah. So I ran into one of those price it low, you know, to get people hooked and in, and then run them over the coals, so to speak. So I walked out on that, and the manager and the salesman start following me down the street, trying to get me to come back. And they're like, we can waive all those fees, you know, we can waive all those fees. And I'm like, listen, guys, I do a lot of dumb stuff in my life based off principle that does not work out to my advantage, but it's principle. And the simple fact that you tried to do it to me tells me you try to do it to probably everybody. Some people don't know any better, and you get to take advantage of them. Some people throw a fit, and then you deal with them until the numbers fit their thing. Me personally, I'm just not going to deal with you. And I'm a firm believer in not running to the federal government to fix everything. We have the power. If we choose not to work with businesses because of their practices that we disagree with, they will change because it's going to hit their pocketbook and they're going to go out of business or change to suit to what their customer wants them to do. Period. We don't need the government to come in and tell Walmart what to do or tell so and so what to do. We as consumers just need to not shop there until they fix whatever the heck our problem is. So that's what I did. I told them, listen, you could even try to sell me the car right now for $25,000. I will not buy it. I will not deal with your company. And if enough of me show up to the same opinion, you're going to have to change your predatory style, and or you're no longer going to exist. So from there, I found another limited over in Cleveland. So I rented a car, and it just so happened that I wanted an electric car, but the only one they had available was a Tesla Model Y. So I'm so happy for that, because even currently, right then, I was still a little torn between the Ioniq 5 and a Model Y. They were the two original cars I was looking at, and I ended up going with the Ioniq 5 because at the time it was $15,000 cheaper than a Tesla. But now they're pretty much neck and neck in price. And I'm glad I rented the Tesla. It solidified that I do absolutely love the Ioniq 5, and I'm not interested in moving to something else. Don't get me wrong. Teslas, I ain't even going to get into the weeds about Mr. Tesla or what the company does as a whole. But they are by far the most advanced electric vehicle company that I am aware of right now. Now, I don't know about some of these crazy brands that are way out of my price range. I'm talking about electric vehicles that the average person can afford between $30,000 and, let's say, $55,000. But their electrical driveline is, I mean, it has more horsepower, more torque, and it's more efficient than my Ioniq 5. So what does that tell you? If they're pushing out more power and more torque, but yet get better gas mileage, it's way more efficient. My Ioniq 5 typically gets somewhere between 3.2 to 3.6, and I've heard that a Tesla typically gets around 4.2 to 4.4, and that's miles per kilowatt hour. So they're more advanced, but everything else, the body panel alignment, the suspension was total crap. I mean, that thing's a death trap. It took me 30 minutes to figure out how to even get it out of the parking spot. And keep in mind, I've been driving an EV now for a year and a half and 20,000 miles. It's steep learning curve. But I will say, at first, and you'll see videos, I was throwing a fit about the car and everything. But the user interface, I mean, I probably maybe tapped into 5% of what it can do. Once you learn it, though, I've seen multiple videos that try to explain the user interface and everything with Tesla, and eventually they just fall back on, it just works. And I'm going to do the same thing. It just works. I mean, to make a full video on A to Z on how to operate a Tesla's, and not to mention it would just change the next time they had a software update, so it's kind of pointless to even do. But it really is nice. The electric drivetrain and the user interface, great. The rest of the car, not so much in my opinion. And I'm not trying to harp on Tesla for it. It makes sense. I mean, if you look at Hyundai or Ford or Chevrolet or Lincoln or Mercedes-Benz, they've all been building cars for a really long time. They're not that good at the electric car yet. It's new to them. Tesla's really good at the electric drivetrain. They're not so good at body panel fits, suspension systems, and things like that. It's new to them. So what one company's strength and another company's weakness doesn't make one or the other worse or better. The same way I can be a very logical, well thought out person, but not be able to put together the most basic math equation with the use of a calculator. That doesn't make me dumb, and it doesn't make the mathematician smart. We're just smart and dumb in different ways. Same thing with my thoughts on the EV. But so I drove over to Cleveland. Took me like 3 days to go through all the stuff to get that car. Not to mention I absolutely loved Cleveland, so I didn't mind staying there for 3 days. And once again, I have video of that whenever life slows down and I get to edit. And then from there, I drove the car back to Mountain Home, Arkansas. I was probably there for like 1 or 2 days. And then I had to leave and come down to San Antonio again. Well, stuff happened while I was doing that. And next thing I know, I had an impromptu trip to Vegas, Las Vegas, to the ACT Expo. I was watching another one of the YouTube channels that I watch quite a bit, and he was there, and I had no idea it was even going on. And I'm like, oh, I got to get to that. So, called up the wife and said, hey man, find me a plane to freaking Las Vegas. I'm going to Las Vegas for the first time on a moment's notice. I didn't have any luggage, nothing. I literally just went with the clothes on my back and the stuff that I normally carry around to charge and do videos with and stuff like that. No toothbrush, no toothpaste, no deodorant. I just happened to be in Austin at the time, seeing my daughter, who I hadn't seen in probably 20 years, and meeting up with some really good old friends. We were part of a really nice, like 14-man clique back then. Hadn't seen them in like 20 years. When that popped up, and I just left Austin and went to Vegas and went down to Target and bought some more underwear and bought some more socks and bought 2 shirts and just made it work. Then I fly back to San Antonio and I went to go see my dad. And then while I was there, I got hit with diarrhea. And then after about 20 hours of that, I got hit with diarrhea and throwing up. I tried to get in front of it with Pedialyte and water, and I stopped drinking and stuff like that, but I was just too far behind the curve. So last night around 2 a.m., I tried to drive to the Bastrop Hospital, and I only made it about halfway before it just got too hard. Double vision, dizziness, lightheadedness, fainting, no energy. So I just kind of pulled over at a spot that I usually stop because it's still a little bit of ways to my dad's house, and I usually need to use the restroom. So I usually stop there and just use the restroom. It's a little, you've got a T intersection, but one of the areas is taken out with dirt and gravel road or whatever. So you can just kind of pull over there and open up both your doors and hide between them and do your business. But stopped there, called an ambulance. They came and got me, took me to the hospital, in the ER. I finally got released out of ER into a regular room this morning. I'm going to say 7, but I don't really know for sure. And now it's just fighting. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling a lot better. I've taken in I think I'm at 2.5 liters of fluid right now. But I'm no longer nauseous. I'm no longer seeing stuff that isn't there, but I do still have 100% diarrhea. So, for instance, this morning I've already crapped myself 3 times and taken 3 showers. What do you do, right? So, needless to say, that's why I have not put out videos during this time. And I realize I'm not big enough of a channel for anybody to really care. I'm not trying to imply that. I thought I owed it to some of the people that watch me an explanation on. I've only kind of been doing shorts because my phone's right there. I can just do it real quick. I don't have to edit it, and boom, done. Okay, well, it's been 14:50. So you're all caught up. say goodbye to Pie Guy and Scott Sheehan signing out. Later.